Hi everyone, welcome back to another lesson on Python hands-on. So in today's lessons, we are going to learn or we will be learning how to read a file in Python. So whenever reading a file in Python, so it involves like opening a file, reading file content and closing the file. So you can see these three steps is important: opening a file, reading its file content, and the third one is closing the file. So there are different methods for reading of files depending upon the nature of the files and tasks at the hand. And also the file handling is important part of any web application, or if you want to save any input or output in some not temporary, permanent files, so permanent storage. So file is a type of permanent storage, because when you are using prompt for taking input in Python, so whenever your execution of the file is exited, or maybe you close the files, there is no any use of that input output, right? When the your code is executed, then only you can see input or output. But if you want to save input and output some files, so then it will work as a input output file operations as well. Okay, so let's do some coding. Okay, so all the things I have already written. Okay, but let me show you. Okay, so what I'm done. Okay, let's explain this project, not project. So let's explain this concept. So always there are three steps, right? Opening a file. So how can open a file? So with the help of open method or open function is most commonly used for opening a file, and this function take two argument. So you can see here this function, the first argument is file path, or you can say file name. So it basically it include the file name with complete file location. But your Python script is in the same location where this file is located, then only you can write the file name like that. But if a different location, you have to pass the complete file path location. And the next parameter is R or T. So by default, whenever opening the file, default mode is reading mode and default type of file is text file. So you can see here R is for read and T for text file are default value. So you do not need to specify them. So you can see here both are the same. Okay, but if you going to write, append or some binary files, so then you have to mention the mode as well. Also, these two important point, make sure the file is exist, else you will get error. So whenever assigning some path of the file or path file name, then you have to make sure this file is already exist, else you will get some error whenever running the code. And if the file located is in different location, you will have to specify the file path. Okay, so that is different thing. Okay, and this one opening. So let's start the coding part. Okay, then I will explain, you will get more and more idea. Okay, so I have already created one Python file. Okay, so read underscore file.py, and this is our file, and the content inside this file is this. Okay, so let me clear everything already have there. Okay, fine. So our first step is, because there is no need to import any extra thing right here. So step 1 is step 1. So what is step 1? Opening a file. Opening a file. For opening a file, there is one important method called open. Okay, so this is common one. Most time we will use this method for reading a file. Okay, so let's create some file objects and then call open. Then after you have to pass the file name. So as you can see, this is our program name, and the file is located in the same location. So you don't have to type your complete path. So just you can type the file name, example.txt, right? Or maybe you can use this one, rt like that. Both are the same, but let me first show you without this extra mode. Okay, and the second step is step 2, reading a file content. Reading file content. So reading a file content, we have one method. First let's create some variable. Okay, right, and for reading a file we have to call the first file object, and then there is one method, the common method is called read. Okay, and this read method, okay, will return all the content inside this file as a string, and it will be assigned to this variable. Okay, so all content will be read by this read file. Read means read function. Okay, and then after print this one. And how can we print? Just call the content variable, so you can see here. And then after that our third step is step 3, closing the file. Closing the file. So closing the file, what you have to do, just call the file object and then use the close method, close function. Okay, so you can see there is 3 important method. Okay, and it's also very easy to remember or memorize. Open, because so what you want to open some file, so you have to pass. You can see here the hint is also getting this like that. So for opening, because without opening you cannot directly call this read method. Okay, so this is the important thing. So first we are calling this open method, and inside this open method we have to pass the file name. And next step is, now we are ready to read the file. Then we can call f.read. F means file object and then read function. This read function will read all the file content as a string, it will return. Okay, and we are storing to content, then we are printing it, the value whatever is inside this content, and finally we are closing the file. Okay, so now everything done. So let me go here. Okay, and I'm going to run the code, run the file. So what is file name? So first we have to call python 3, and then file name is read file .py. Okay, fine, let's enter. Okay, so you can see, okay, so our python, right, python command is wrong, it should be python 3, right? Let's type this one. Now you can see this is our file content. Okay, so this is our file content. Fine, so this is one method. So this is one way of reading a file. So let's do like that, or let's call this one first method. Okay, or call this method 1 or approach 1. So what is the difference, we will talk later. Okay, so method 1 and we are calling read. Okay, so you can see this is all entire file content is stored at this variable. Now if we want to, you do not want to read all file content at once. Okay, if you want to read line by line, or you want to check, okay, how many line is there, I want to read the file line by lines. Okay, so there is one more method. Okay, this is method 2, and that is called read lines. So what we'll do here, in case of file read, okay, so they will read all content, okay, at this variable as a string. Now in case of read lines, okay, let's call read lines. You can see, so what will this read lines will do? Read line will do the same thing, but now each line will be treated as separate line. Like each line, you can see here, it will be read by this read lines, and all the lines, all the separate line will be stored in the form of list. So here it will be return will be list. So this will be list of all lines. Okay, so it's what will this will do, read line by line, and all the lines will be stored into this content and will return to this content in the form of list. Okay, and so how you can see, let's see the output here. Okay, so let's clear again, and then again call the same thing. So now you can see all our file content are stored in a form of list, and all lines, means single line, it treated as one item inside this. You can see here, okay, first line, let me show you. You can see the first line, second line, then second line. Okay, so whatever the content here is a different line. Okay, so you will treat it as a different line. Okay, and how will treat as a different line? Okay, whenever just do like that, and if hit enter, it will treat it as new line. Okay, so that's why. Also, why we are seeing the /n. Okay, so yeah, this is one tricky part here. Okay, so whenever you are reading the file, okay, so there is some non-printable character, not printables. Printable means it will not visible to, whenever calling the print function, it will not, it not non-printable means it will not display something, but they will do something, it will change new line, or there is some cursor change like that. So this is this one. So whenever reading a line and we are doing some comparison for each line, so then we have to call do two things, the streaming, and also we have to take care of this thing. Okay, so this one. So let me show you, this is very important thing, this, but let's first explain the reading method. Okay, so this is, and now if in the form of list, now you can call any line if you want to see this line. Okay, first line if you want to hear, so just you can call indexing, right, because you have already all lines. So let's clear this. So you can see here, but let's I'm going to check if this both are same or not. Okay, so this is, because this is very mistake people do always. Okay, so that's why I'm mentioning here. If content 0 equal to this one, right, it should be this, right, because the both are the same. But let's see the some important result here. Okay, so let's print true, else print false. Fine, let's do the same again. So why we are getting the file, why we are getting this false. Okay, so this was the reason. Let me show you. So just I'm calling this whole file path, and then we are doing this one. Okay, so now you can see this is our content. Okay, but line 0, you can see item 1, this is the content. Okay, so you can see there is some space and new line is also appended, and but we cannot see new line spaces because these are non-printable. Printable means it will not display to the screen. Okay, so that's why this one, okay, and this one is not same. So then what you have to do, then you have to call some trim. Okay, trim or strip means it will remove out something, strip. Okay, and then you have to remove which one, /n. Okay, so again it's not, because what strip will do, strip will remove /n. Okay, and also okay, let me first see is this correct or not, because if this will work then it's fine. Okay, so you can see again false. Okay, so what strip is doing, this is removing only slash n, but still there is some space, right? So you have to do like that. Okay, just trim art. There is one more thing, like strip means it will remove this from both, like leading or trailing means from starting from ending. But in case of, if you know, we have to remove from end because slash n will be always added at end, but spaces will be added in either side. Okay, so in this case what you have to do, so you can call like that. You can do first a strip will remove all the spaces. Okay, then you can again call a strip. Okay, and then we can remove this one. Okay, so what this will do, first he will this will remove spaces from both, from starting and end. And now if a space is removed, now this will be also appended, right? It will be, it will position will change, it will start from here again. Slash n is always there, right? So we have to remove this one. So next time we are calling this one, right? Now this should be equal. Let's expand this window. Okay, and then clear. Okay, so now you can see this is a true. So this is this is a very important. Okay, so whenever you are comparing the file content, okay, so this always you have to do. Okay, so make sure this is an important concept, right? So till now what we have done, so we have used read method. It will read all content. Okay, and its read line also read all the content, but in the form of lines, different line. It will, and return of this read line will be as a list, right? So there is one more method. Okay, so that is called, because we do not want to read all line once, right? If you want to read line by line, so then there is third method, method 3. So that is called read line. So that is singular form of read lines. It will do the same, okay, but it will read one line at a time. Okay, so let's call this, and now so it will return type of this will be a string, single line. Okay, then remove this one. So you can see this method will read one line at a time. Okay, so now see again. Okay, let's first clear this and just expand a little bit more. So you can see again it is false, it's returning C. So now we cannot call this because it's form of a string, it's returning 1. Okay, and now we have to just call content, right? Because that was a list, but this is a string, so it will return one character, right? But we have to check complete. Okay, so you can see true. This is, so 2 times we have printed here, so we can remove 1 time, right? So what we have to do, like, let me print once more, so you can see this and true. This is our content, this one is here. In the same case, read lines or read line, it will be do the same, but you can only able to see this screen. Okay, because a space and slash and is you are not able to see. So whenever the cursor is printing something, so whenever printing something, it will go to the next line. Okay, but you are not able to see here, but you can see here some spaces, right? Because cursor is going to next line, and next line is already included. You can see here next line is already included here. So also you can see here why we are getting this extra line, right? It should be something, right? But this is a, because slash n is already appended, because print function already go to the next line. It will whenever any number of times you are calling the, let me show you once, let me 2 times, okay, and every time slash n is appended, right? So this should be spaces every time. Spaces means new line. Okay, so you can see new line also here, new line is also here. So print is always going to next line, but why we are getting this space, right? Why we are getting one more line? Because slash n was already included in this file. So that's why we are printing a. So you got my point, right? Now, but we want to read whole file content, right? So now we have to use the loop. Okay, so in loop what you have to do, first you have to read one line or maybe call as a line. Okay, and let's comment this everything, okay, because that is confusing, or just focused on the main part. Now we have to call while method, while line, if anything is something, so go inside, and now you can call the print, okay, and it will print the line. So first time we have some content in line, one line is done, then after our loop will go inside here line. So if there is something inside this line, if it is not null, so it will true, then we are printing this content. Again after printing first line, we are going to again call f dot read line. Okay, fine. So this will ultimately print all the content. Fine. So if there is something, already closing is done, this one is also done, printing is already done, fine. So let's do something now. Clear. Okay, so now you can see all file content, right? All file content you can see, but this will be do the same thing, but you are not able to see, but all these are this lines are printing in the same format. Okay, so, but slash and space is already hidden, okay, because that will not printable. Not printable means it will not display to the screen because there is some white spaces, some extra character that is you will read, while doing the code. Fine. So this was three things, okay, with the help of read line. So every time we are closing, right? So you can see close is here. Okay, so there is one more method. If you do not want to, maybe sometime you forget something closing the file, okay, so then is one method or some other good practice. You can closing the file in very good way. Okay, okay, so how we can do that? So let's organize the code. So this is one called with okay, and we have to call this one. So whenever opening the file, we have to opening the file, it will treat it as the same, and then we are doing here with, and then call as, and then if. Okay, so whenever you forget to, right, now we have to organize our code like this, okay, and then do the same. Okay, so in this case we do not need this, okay, extra line for closing the file, and this is also very safest way whenever doing some code, intentionally or unintentionally sometimes you forget to closing the file. Okay, so whenever you forget to close the file, so you will get some unexceptional error, or maybe some different behavior, that is not as per logical, right? So now you can see with. So whenever opening the file, just you have to open file with. So with is help to, if you forget to something, it will automatically close the file. It's calling the close file whenever this blog is executed. Okay, after that it will automatically call. So now see the code if this everything is correct or not. Clear this one and call this one, right? So we are getting the same thing, right? Again, so you can see if the file does not exist, you will get error, right? So let me show the error. So because file example one is not does not exist. Okay, so first clear and let's count this one. So you can see something like that, file error, no such file exists, right? So we are getting something. So it means we are also getting the error, or our line, our program is also showing error. But if you want to show some custom message, so how you can do that? Because every time there will be some error, you will get error something like that. Okay, but this is also good error. So in this case, we have to call try catch. So handling for try. Then again, what you have to do? You have to indent everything properly, spaces. Okay, make sure how I am calling. Okay, try is sub top root, and inside try this is child, inside this child this is a child, or this is code block, and inside this you have to call this, and again this is fine, right? And then after try is done, then you have to call except. Okay, except, and what will be there? File, you can see file not found error. So this is, you can call here the same, and now you can print some graceful or some good in messages. Okay, so how we can do? If the file okay, so what is our file? Or maybe there is one good way, maybe you directly calling this one. So one good way is, you can store to the some variable. Okay, so because else it will be very hard to manage, not good practice, I'm just saying. And just we have to calling this one, because if this is variable, so we can call anywhere very easily. Okay, because why you are doing this one? Because if I need here to show some good messages, so also I need these variables file name. So this file does not exist, so I can show here just using this. If or else you have to hard code every time, right? So but I'm not going to hard code. So you can see here does not exist. Fine. Or maybe we can, there is some more exceptions we can handle. Except exception e, just you have to call as print if an error occurred, and then we have to call some this object. Which object? This one. So suppose this file does not exist, right? So it will get here, but if there be it will be something different. Okay, maybe there is no any file locations. Okay, not file locations, maybe memory is full. Okay, and some unexceptional thing, sometime loading error, memory error, something like that. So it might be happening, okay, if you are getting this error because file does not exist, but it might be something anything, right? So maybe in code we have written something different, or maybe uh, you are not, what we can say, the your Python is not properly installed, right? Or maybe some extra error, system error, something like that. So that's why we are handling here. So we are making sure, yeah, it's sometime happening, okay, so file does not exist, we are not getting error. So if we are getting this error, so it means this is not error, right? So file, so we have to, this is the main thing, right? So we are minimizing the risk, right? Or minimizing the error, because if you are not getting this one, it means this is not error, so this, right? So that is fine. If you are getting something else, so it will be something else, so you have to look on that, look into that, right? So that's why we have to do good programming practice. Now you can see file 1 does not exist, so it, we are getting in this nicely formatted, okay. So this is not error because we are handling the error, or else we are not handling this error, it will get some different format or output, right? Or sometime what happening, if there is multiple file, right? Maybe if we are printing something, right? Maybe after here, right? Let I want to print something, hello, right? So if you are not handling, okay, this error, so what will happen after this line, our code will be program will terminated and we will not get everything. So it means after this line, okay, so the rest of the line will be not executed, but this is not good practice, right? If there is maybe there is 10 operations in one file, okay, so if one operation is wrong, so we should not affect rest of the 8 operations, right? So that is the case, exceptional handling is there. So I will show you. So now in case it will show this error, okay, but again this line will also executed, okay. So let me show you. Okay, so we are getting here hello, right? But if I am not handling try catch, okay, so let me also, okay, fine, okay, let me do let me, because else I have to do extra step, properly align the code. So next me, I'm going to copy this one and then, okay, so this one, now let's call here, okay, fine. So we are going to see, in this case this line will be not executed because our code will be terminated here, okay. After this line our program will be terminated, okay. So I think everything should goes well. Let me show you. Okay, so you can see here, right, we are getting error. Now we are not able to print this message because our programming terminated handle our program is not handled properly, so our program is terminated or exited, okay. So this is called sometimes system crash, a system is crash or there is some bug in your code, okay. So this is called because you are not handled properly. So sometime, loosely coupled, tightly coupled means it like, there is 10 operation in your server or production anywhere you're writing code, right? So in just for one line or just for a simple error, or for if there is 10 tasks in your file in program doing 10 operations, but if one operation is not properly done, handle or not working, so rest of the operations should work, okay. So in that scenario you have to handle all the things properly. So how you can do that? With the help of try catch. So what we have learned till now, read, how the read work, how the read line work, and how the read line or read lines work, how to read line by line, okay. If you do not want to use close, okay, so how you can do that? With the help of with, okay. And how to handle errors, so with the help of try and catch. And what are the file not exist, so it might be we are making sure if what we are just handling different type of input scenario or error scenario, right? So there might be one input like that, error like that, but there might be something, some error in not in our control. So in that case we are using this exception, okay. Might be some system crash, or file path is not properly set, the package is not installed, something like that. So it will, so or maybe you're using old packages, right, something like that. So this error will handle here. So we will make sure, so if not this error we are getting, so file is already exist something and we will get different error like that. So then you guys, in that case you have to handle differently. Fine. So that's all everyone for this video. I think there is too much learning or too many learning in this concept. I think you got some insightful detail about this thing. Okay, so that's all for today. Let's meet in another one, and if there is some doubt or if you like this video also, you can comment down below. Okay, so let's see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.